Hey everybody, it's time to roll the wind. Thought I'd try to give you a trip report on my Las Vegas excursion from last week. I know a lot of you saw the chip porn, you saw a few updates I did at different places. I apologize that I was only able to get the one update loaded. I found myself at times short on time, and at other times I found myself with a very poor signal in my room, and I just did not trust the public Wi-Fi. Kind of boils down to that. I didn't trust that. First thing I want to do is say we no longer will be using those big old yellow foam dice. One of our subscribers, friend, Pappy Van Winkle, as I call him, gave us some new dice, brought them to the casino, gave them to me on the first day. And they're going to be a lot easier for me to use. I'm real honored that he thought to even do that. So, most of you saw that late Sunday and all day Monday was really fantastic, but I'll try to go back over it briefly. The wife and I were on our 7 Stars trip for Caesars. Caesars limo picked us up at the airport at 1 o'clock, right on time, took us right on in. We were registered and in our hotel room within 15-20 minutes of arrival at Paris. I was very grateful for their hospitality. My wife's sister, her boyfriend were coming in a few hours later, so that gave us a time to get acclimated, grab a quick bite, lose a little money, and then have them come in later on that Sunday afternoon. I did get a chance to play some craps, obviously, and first thing we did, I did hit a little video going on a slot, but Sunday night I was able to get on a table, hit the all tall small there at the Paris, and had a nice color up with a banana chip or a canary chip, whichever way you want to call them. I've always called them canaries, but our Hawaiian friends like to call them bananas. The guy that brought me the dice, he colored up same time I did. Near identical. I pressed a little harder than he did, I think. Or maybe I had more on the all tall small. That's probably what it was. I had 10, 10, 10. I think he probably had 5, 5, 5. I got up early Monday morning, and I call it my morning coffee run. Even though technically, to be honest, it wasn't my coffee run. I took my own coffee pot this time. A $20 Keurig single cup coffee maker packed in your suitcase with some Keurig K-cups of your favorite coffee. Worth it. Coffee maker paid for itself in no time based on coffee prices, right? And it was real convenient to have it in the room. The hotel room did not have a coffee pot or coffee maker in it. All we had was a refrigerator in our suite, so that worked out real well. So Monday morning I get up, I run downstairs, stopped off in the high limit slots. There's a slot machine there that I've always played once or twice a day. That's it. Because it's a feast or famine type slot. It either pays you or it takes all your money. Well, I hit it for $806 real quick, cashed that ticket out, went over to the Bellagio. They had 2 tables open, perfectly firm tables at the Bellagio. Some would call them hard. I just call them really nice and firm. The dice would crack or clack when they landed. Loved it. They had a $15 table that was open. It was packed, and they had a $25 table with one of the best pit bosses I've ever run across, especially there at the Bellagio. The guy was just great. He was training some newer dealers. He kept the game hopping. He kept it moving. He got them the right payouts. And because a lot of the payouts or a lot of the bets we do are not your normal, start at 30, press to 60, then 90, then 120. You all know I go 30, 42, 90, 180, 420. So they handled that. The game was never slowed down. There was three or four of us on the table. I hit the all tall small that morning on a nice long roll. Colored up about $3,000 a head. Then we took a trip over to the Gold Coast, me and Aloha Johnny, and I got in on the hook. Somebody was at stick left one. John was a little bit nervous about shooting from straight out, but he got in on straight out. Table was pretty cold, and I did a lot of I bet a lot from the dark side last week. Sometimes obviously it worked, sometimes obviously it didn't. It kept my exposure low most of the time, unless I got kind of stupid maybe with some extra lay bets. But John got out there on strict left one, and Gold Coast has the repeater bet. We bet $20 on each repeater, and I thought he was going to hit the 6 and the 8. He got within one of hitting those. He did hit 2 repeaters. I want to say it was the 3 and the 10 or something like that, or 3 and 11. But he was one short on the 6, one short on the 8. It was the 5. He killed the 5. He had like 8 5s. And then he dug me out of a little bit of a hole that I had fallen into, colored up there with a nice little profit. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 profit, I think. So get back. It's Monday evening. We're going to have dinner at Paris, Gordon Ramsay Steakhouse, as part of our celebration dinner with the 7 Stars program. Very fine meal, high class, and way up in the clouds expensive. Table of 4, $750. Luckily, that was on Caesar's dime, not mine. But I about had a stroke. I didn't know if I was going to have to pay for half of that or all that or what at first. They wanted to walk over to the Bellagio, and I said, well, of course, let's go. So we walked over to the Bellagio. They all were playing a little bit of slots. I was kind of watching, keeping one eye on some craps tables, and finally I told them, I said I was going to go do a more serious look at the craps table. Luckily, I got right in it, stick left one. The dice were down on the far end. Whoever had the dice down there, they made a point. I bought in real quick. $1,000 buy-in. I just kind of had what was in my money clip, threw them a card, got in real quick. Person 7'd out down there, and the people that stick right left, which gave the dice to me. I went with the set that was killing it for me all weekend, seemed like. even though I did use some other sets at times. But that 5135 hit the tall real quick. Finally sevened out, turned around, wife and sister-in-law are standing there. They're ready to go back, and I just colored up with a good $725 or so profit. So Monday was absolutely fantastic. Couldn't have asked for it to be any better. I get up Tuesday morning and I go down to my high limit slot. I'm looking for it, and they've got the thing unplugged. I walk over to another one of those lightning with the coins thing that's on that video. Hit it for $200 or $300, somewhere in there. Hit it straight over to the Bellagio. Meeting up with my guys there. Had the same great pit boss. In fact, I wrote a letter to the Bellagio table supervisor this morning and sent it to him, just bragging on how well that guy could run a table. He was great to interact with. He was funny. Gave us no heat, no issues. Made sure we got paid correctly. Loved him. So I sent a letter to them today, to their supervisor there, just to let them know how much he was appreciated by me and the people I was with. But we didn't have great luck. They switched his table and moved him down to where it was just a different table. Didn't quite have the same feel to it. None of us could quite get in, so we didn't stay all that long. It don't take us long to figure out that we're not making money, we're losing money, and we should just go on somewhere else. So we met up with Heavy at that time. He would come over there to see us, and no, I apologize, that was another day. We went over to the Strat and could not get in at first. It was just packed table. So we go back to the Gold Coast, we play a little bit more. Nothing fancy going on. We ended up back at the Strat a little later, opened up the other table, met up with another guy that's a local, and he hit an all tall small I was on, kind of helped me out a lot, pulled me out of the hole I was in. We had a very, very strange couple of hours on that table. I had a 37 roll. That may have been what pulled me out of the hole, now that I think about it. I had a 37 roll, hit the top. He was logging all of our tosses, and there was, I think he had somewhere upwards of 200 tosses recorded, and there were only 3 12s thrown. I threw 2 of them, and there were no 2s. That's terrible when you're on a crapless table, because you're betting those extreme numbers, and they just did not hit. They defied all of the mathematics. If mathematics is your thing, that table kicked your ass, because there was no 2s thrown, hardly, and only 3 or 4 12s. 1 12 was thrown by a guy that had been watching videos, trying to learn how to toss. We talked to him for a long time, had lunch with him, as a matter of fact. From there, we went right straight over to the Sahara. Somebody told us they had a small table there. That was not true. It was still a short 12-footer. And it was very bouncy. Very bouncy. Played the dark side there for about 2 hours. I think I came out about even. One of the guys came out with a small profit. Just played straight dark on everybody that shot except ourselves. Probably would have made money if I'd have bet dark side on myself. The table was really, really bouncy. So then Tuesday night, we're back at my hotel to Paris. I get back on another table and I'm dialed in immediately, just like I was on the Bellagio table, like I was Sunday night on the Paris table. Stick left one, I shot from virtually all weekend, and my shots, I was just dialed in on those particular tables. Colored up about $1,800 and something dollars, so for another $500 or $600 win. Then on Wednesday, decided that we'd start at Bally's, which is next door, of course, to Paris. I did not like their table. They had resurfaced it. Actually, what I think they had done was put some surface, maybe a subsurface and a new cover over their old cover. Their old covers used to, in March, the dice would just crack really loud. They were real cushy this time. About probably kind of similar to that end of the table down here to my right. But Bally's is playable, but you got to be careful. You got to find the right spot, right landing zone, and the right arc on your toss, or you're going to get a lot of bad reaction off of your dice. Later on Wednesday, we went back to try to get on at the Strat after we had tried getting back on at we played at Bellagio, but we didn't. It was very flat. We were on a different table than we'd been. Same one we were on the previous day. It just didn't quite have the same feel to it for any of us. So rather than sit there and melt, which is letting your money drip away from you, we decided to exit. Wednesday afternoon, went back to the hotel, trying to find a place to eat. Decided to try the Mexican place at the Aria, which was a pretty good little walk. We walked over there, they wouldn't let us in, we didn't have a reservation. I had been told they didn't need one. Ended up catching a cab and going down to Fremont Street. By then, I'm strictly a tour guide for my wife and her sister and her boyfriend. We ate dinner at a place called Eureka. It's right next door to El Cortez. It's not bad, reasonably priced. I wouldn't highly recommend it, but if you're hungry and you're down that way, you want to sit down in a restaurant that's not going to rip you off too bad, the Eureka right next to El Cortez might be worth your consideration. Thursday morning, we headed to the Strat. We wanted to get on that Crapless Table. And basically, I got stranded there. The guy that was driving, he was kind of stranded there too, because he had a full car of us that we went over there to play with. And they just didn't want to leave. I was ready to go within 2 hours. I was like, I'm done with this table. Probably should have called a cab. Would have been cheaper. Heavy was throwing. He was throwing from the end, and he had a great 30-something roll, maybe more than that. He hit the all tall small. That kind of gave us all fresh air for that table. But again, there was a guy from a friend of the Dominators. He was standing right next to me. He was charting the table. Darth Nader was charting the table. 2s and 12s just did not exist. This day, on this particular day, a 12 just vanished off the table, other than when Heavy hit the all tall small. I came back finally. We spent way too many hours in that casino. Broke all your rules. You know, don't add to your buy-in, don't rebuy, don't stay too long. We broke all those rules. I hadn't paid for it and paid the price for breaking those rules. Unfortunately, I mean, I was ready to go way before. We finally did. I get back to the Paris, starving, go grab a quick bite to eat. And while I'm eating, I said, you know, I haven't really pushed my goal of 25, 25, 25 on the all tall small. It's a $25 table. And so that's a lot of come out exposure. A 7 knocks out $75. When you got, I kept putting $75 on the pass line just for myself. There was me and the gentleman down on the far end from the Atlantic City area. And he was setting, but just kind of randomly tossing them down here. And he was betting 25, 25, 25 on the all tall small. So we were both looking to make a little bit of a payday. I got the dice and I started out with my 5-1-3-5, I think it was. I hit the tall with the $25 on it. I'm like, there's my ammo. But here's the problem I kept trying to decide, because I did not want on a regular table, I didn't want to lose my $75 to come out craps number. So I was kind of doing a three-way craps at 15 bucks. 75 on my pass line to protect my all tall small. As the hand developed and I'd hit a point, I would lower my pass line, trying to reduce that exposure a little bit. But the other guy on the other end of the table, he was only betting $50 on the pass line, and he was doing 35 in action. He had 20 on the C and E, and then he was hopping the reds for a nickel each. And that, to me, that's kind of overkill. I've got to work my way through it, because we're going to do a video on attacking the all tall small here shortly. And this is how is the best way to hedge. I mean, he had $15 up here if the 7 hit. He had $20 here as a 7-to-1 bet on the 11. So basically 70 on each one. Winner. I've got to think through the math and decide for myself what's the best way to hedge if you're going to go that big. If it's 10, 10, 10 up top, I just put 30 bucks and just go with the flow. Maybe do a $5 crap check. Do a $5 crap check with a $30 pass line. Pass line's covered. If you're 5-5-5 up there, that's covered. That's cheap. But when you're trying to hit a home run, and you still need to hedge that a little bit, those are the things I've got to work through for myself, which way I want to do it. Because like I said, in the past, I've always gone 75 on the pass line to protect that on the 7, and then a 3-way craps, or $10 crap check, which would pay me 70. I'd still be $5 short. You know, and I'm playing my come out game, so I'm trying my best to hit each horn number. And just didn't quite do it often enough for it to really pay for itself, but you almost got to do it to protect that 75. So I shot the 5-1-3-5. I shot 2-3-6-3 on that table. I shot 2414. I shot the 1454. I kept mixing it up. I kept trying to get some hits and stay with a decent dice set that was good for my toss. Trying to figure out a way to knock off some of these extreme numbers, either on the come out or after initial come out or after you made a point. And after I hit that tall with that $25 chip on it, I think it was my first or second toss, I had ammo. So my ammo went to work. I mean, I jumped on up to $50, 4 and 10. I had 90 on the 6 and 8. And when I'd hit the 4, I'd say take it to 100. And then when that hit, I said take me to 250. And right on up the scale, I hit 250 on the 4. I hit a 250 10. I had a 420 6 and 8 hit. But I'm always, then I went from there, I went to 640 across. I mean, I started just throwing black chips out there, trying to hit a home run while I was doing. It just seemed like I was never going to quite get that all tall small knocked out, but I was hammering different numbers with different sets. And once I got in a good groove of hitting the same 2 or 3 numbers over and over, I didn't change my set. I just kept pounding them. Never got any heat. I got a lot of watchful eye from their pit boss, but he never disrupted me, never said anything other than congratulations, that was a nice roll, which he told me 2 or 3 times. But he would be down. You could tell he was bending over, looking at my hands and looking at the dice and watching them fly. Hitting the back wall every time. Never a complaint, nothing. The only thing that ever bothered me was because I was throwing about 6 inches from the wall. 4, 5, 6 inches from the wall was my target. And some knucklehead comes up there and stacks on their table in the field a big old pile of green and red chips right in my way. I had to throw over them from where I was at. Chips came back, or the dice came back, hit the chip, rolled to a 7. And I just said, what an idiot that person is. Color me up. So I ended up coloring up. Nice, tidy profit. You know, could have been bigger if I hadn't been so aggressive. But like I say, they gave me the bullets for that first tall, and I used my bullets out there to try to really make good hits on some points. And I did. I made some good points. All in all, Vegas is back, folks. First convention of the season was there. I never knew concrete people had conventions. But now I know, because they were there. They drank a lot, they were loud, they were boisterous, didn't know how to play craps. So I kind of avoided them in the late evening hours. Stay away from them as much as I could during the day as well. You'd be on a table and it would be just as quiet and as all get out, and wherever they were at would let out, and all of a sudden you had an influx of rowdy folks jumping on tables. A bunch of weddings going on up there too. That's no big surprise, I guess. Vegas is back. Shows are still not open yet, that kind of thing, but there are some starting to open next month. in the following month. There are a lot of bulletin boards with their names up on them, and everybody's coming in. Did not rent a car. Rental car prices are stupid expensive. Didn't really need one. Cab was the best transportation other than the limo that Caesars provided to and from the airport. Uber and Lyft, those guys, they're so busy that they can pick and choose right now who and what trips they want to take. It looks, from what I can understand. Lots of good food. Everywhere was good. So I appreciate y'all listening. Just wanted to give you that update. I hammered some numbers during this trip. There was one time at the Bellagio that I was hitting a 9, and the guy down there said, "Reckon what you gonna throw next?" The dealer down there said 9. I mean, once I got in that groove and got dialed in on those tables, you just about knew what was coming with that particular dice set. So I was getting some, I think I was using the 5-1-3-5 mostly at the Bellagio. And I'd get one double pitch, and I'd have a 5-4, or I would have a 6-3. A lot of 9s on that particular hand, I remember. And y'all know me. Once I don't like 5s and 9s, but if I throw one, I'm going to put a bet on it. And that's another thing I got to work on. I've got to work on my progressions of my bets on 5s and 9s. I left money on the table by not pressing hard enough, fast enough. So those 5s and 9s. So I'm going to work on that some, share that with you as I go. I am going to try to do a study. I know I'm not going to throw probably and hit the all tall small, but we're going to attack it in a video coming up soon. And we'll look at both ways of hedging. If y'all got other ideas on hedging $75 on the all tall small, let me know. A good friend of mine from Nevada this morning or this afternoon, he had a 51 hand at the Fremont, got him a jacket. Congratulate Dean for that. All in all, if you have other questions, let me know. Obviously, there's no plexi anymore. The only people I saw wearing masks were dealers. The tables that were hard were fabulous. The Strat table is somewhat bouncy. If you go there to play Crapless, interesting, I just remembered. So, at the Crapless table, it was a $15 table, and they had the availability to make lay bets across the back, 2 through 12. So we would lay the 4. We'd do a no 4 for $60. Did this on virtually everybody that we were. You can't bet dark side, but you can lay a number on that table. So we would do a no 4 bet. If I was shooting, I'd have a $15 pass line. And then we would have $15 working on the 2, 3, 11, and 12. Working on the come out. No 4s working, obviously. This protects one of the numbers. That protects 2 of the numbers, so your exposure was $15. Sometimes we'd only work the 2 and 12. Unfortunately, like I said, those all but disappeared on that table. But if you go there and play there It's not a bad strategy. As soon as an extreme number hits, 2, 3, 11, or 12, tell them to pull your lay bet down. We did that on one. I had my 3 pressed up from $15. A guy hit a 3 so many times in that session or on that particular toss that I had my 3 pressed up to $300. I'm sorry, $100. And when it hit, that paid $300. Then there was a big rigmarole down there on his end. Somebody complaining about a $2 bet or something. And turned my bets off. Everybody down here turned their bets off. Lo and behold, he hit that 3. Cost me $300 when I turned it off. But it was a good call to do, I guess. So yeah, if you go play crapless at the Strat, keep in mind you can lay numbers, and if you want to work on the come out, that lay of 60 on that 4, you got to give them a buck. 61, no 4. 2, 3, 11, and 12 working. I mean, every once in a while those 3s and 11s hit. Don't do like yours truly did and come out. This was kind of funny, painful funny. I went to my 2, 3, 1, 2 set. Had my $60 no 4 back there. What'd I roll? Hard 4. Gone, gone, gone. Hard 4, or no 4 is gone. But knowing my set and knowing that obviously, okay, if I can do that, I can do it again. And I ended up doing the hard 4, hard 10 for a quarter. Hit them enough that at one time I ended up with $50. Or I know I had a quarter on all of them. May have been a 50 on 2 and a quarter on 2. But I hit them because I was ready to press them to 100. Didn't hit it enough to get it pressed to 100. But I was confident. I was confident enough in my toss to do that. I was confident enough on my $420 6. When it hit, I didn't digress it or regress it. Should have. But in my mind, in that moment, when you're throwing 6s, you're throwing that many of them, I told myself I was going straight to 900 from 420. And I would have. Smart thing again, though, I told you before, would be to take it from 420 after it hits, take it down to 180 and start over on the press. I guess that's about it. I wanted to go over those two things. The odd way to try to hedge the all tall small with $25 chips up there, and I wanted to make sure I reminded you of the strategy at the Strat we used. If you go there, you can lay a number. 4 or 10, wouldn't bother with an outside number. The payoff's not worth the risk. But cover them with that $60 on a $15 table. You've got 2 of them covered. You've only got $15 exposure on that come out roll, same as you would in any other craps game at that point. So it's a pretty good little strategy. Just don't forget to pull your 4 down as soon as you get a hit on any outside extreme number. If you haven't hit the subscribe button or like button, I'd appreciate it if you would. A lot of y'all are being burdened with commercials now on my videos. I am not receiving a dime off any of those. I'd appreciate it though if you'd hit subscribe, like. It does help the channel grow. You know, I'll just be honest with you. If y'all gonna have to watch the commercials, I'd like for them to pay me, but they're not gonna pay me until I get 1,000 subscribers. That's their rule. I just soon, you know, not have to watch any. But I don't put them in there. Google, YouTube's putting them in there. So y'all remember to practice like you play. You can play like you practice when you go to the casino, and then go roll to win.